Welcome to Discover Daily by Perplexity, an AI-generated show on tech, science, and culture. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sienna.
Imagine a world where our DNA is a living fossil record. Well, that's exactly what recent genetic research has uncovered, revealing a complex tapestry of interbreeding between modern humans, Neanderthals, and Denisovans.
Wow, so our ancestry is even more diverse than we initially thought?
Absolutely. This research has shown that multiple distinct Denisovan populations contributed to the modern human genome through separate interbreeding events. It's like we're carrying a genetic time capsule within us.
How exactly did scientists discover this?
Well, it all started with the discovery of a finger bone in Denisova Cave, Siberia, back in 2010. DNA analysis revealed a previously unknown hominin lineage that coexisted with Neanderthals and modern humans. Since then, genetic studies have shown that Denisovans interbred with both Neanderthals and modern humans, leaving genetic traces in present-day populations. All non-African individuals carry some Neanderthal ancestry in their DNA, but Denisovan genetic material is more localized. Populations in Oceania, particularly in Papua New Guinea, show the highest levels of Denisovan ancestry, with up to 5% of their genomes derived from these ancient hominins.
Are there any specific traits linked to this Denisovan DNA?
Yes, there are. Denisovan DNA has been linked to adaptations for high-altitude living in Tibetan populations. It's also influenced our immune system. However, it's not all positive. Some archaic genetic variants may predispose modern humans to certain health conditions.
It sounds like a double-edged sword. How does this change our understanding of human evolution?
Well, Sienna, it stresses that human evolution wasn't a linear process, but rather a complex network of interactions. In fact, about 1% of the Denisovan genome originates from an unknown ancestor dating back roughly 1 million years, with 15% of these interbreeding sequences present in modern humans today.
Okay, now for news in the corporate world.
A Delaware judge has just rejected Tesla's attempt to reinstate CEO Elon Musk's $56 billion compensation package. The court found that Tesla's board was unduly influenced by Musk, leading to a breach of fiduciary duties in approving the compensation plan. This ruling upholds an earlier decision that deemed the pay deal excessive and improperly authorized.
So it's not just about the amount, but also how it was approved. What are the implications of this for other companies?
Well, it could lead to increased scrutiny of CEO compensation, especially in situations where the executive holds substantial sway over the board. Companies might need to reassess their compensation strategies, ensuring they're transparent and independently verified to withstand legal challenges.
But didn't Tesla shareholders vote to reinstate the package?
They did, but the court deemed that insufficient to override the ruling. Chancellor Kathaleen McCormick noted that allowing such practices would undermine legal processes and potentially lead to endless lawsuits.
So what options does Tesla have now?
They've expressed intention to appeal to the Delaware Supreme Court, which could take up to a year. In the meantime, they'll need to consider alternative compensation strategies for Musk and potentially implement corporate governance reforms.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out and what impact it might have on executive compensation practices across the industry. Now, let's move on to our final story of the day that looks at the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's a fascinating cognitive bias where individuals with limited competence tend to overestimate their abilities. The effect typically unfolds in distinct stages, illustrating the journey from ignorance to competence. It starts with what's called the peak of Mount Stupid, where individuals have minimal knowledge but high confidence. As people gain more information, they enter the Valley of Despair. This is where they realize just how much they don't know, and their confidence takes a sharp dive. Then comes the slope of enlightenment. This is where competence and confidence gradually increase as individuals acquire genuine expertise. Finally, they reach the plateau of sustainability, where confidence aligns more closely with actual ability.
How did researchers originally discover this effect?
In their 1999 study, psychologists David Dunning and Dunning-Kruger found that participants scoring in the bottom quartile on tests of humor, grammar, and logic grossly overestimated their test performance and ability. These individuals, despite performing poorly, believed their abilities to be above average.
That's a pretty significant disconnect between perceived and actual competence. But what causes this effect?
One key theory is the metacognitive deficit explanation. It suggests that individuals with low competence in a particular domain lack the metacognitive skills necessary to accurately assess their own performance. Essentially, the skills required to be competent in a domain are often the same skills needed to evaluate competence in that domain.
So if you're bad at something, you might also be bad at realizing you're bad at it? That's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it?
Exactly. But recent research has challenged this interpretation. Some studies suggest that the Dunning-Kruger effect might be largely explained by statistical phenomena rather than cognitive biases. A study by Magnus and Parasetsky demonstrated that the effect can be derived as a statistical artifact without requiring psychological explanations. Their model, which accounts for random boundary constraints, fits empirical data almost perfectly.
So it might not be as much about psychology as we thought?
It's possible. The statistical explanation posits that the Dunning-Kruger pattern emerges due to regression to the mean and the bounded nature of performance scales. For instance, high performers have limited room to overestimate their abilities due to the upper bound of the scale, while low performers can only make optimistic errors.
So what are the implications of this effect? How does it impact our daily lives?
The Dunning-Kruger effect has implications in various fields, from education to professional development. It highlights the importance of continuous learning and self-reflection. In education, it suggests that students might need help recognizing their own knowledge gaps. In professional settings, it could lead to overconfidence in decision-making, especially among those with limited expertise. This is why diverse teams and external perspectives are often valuable. They can help counteract individual biases. Understanding the Dunning-Kruger effect can foster humility and a growth mindset. It reminds us that there's always more to learn, even in areas where we feel confident.
So how can we apply this knowledge in our daily lives?
One way is to practice intellectual humility. When approaching a new topic or skill, it's helpful to recognize that our initial confidence might be inflated. We can seek out feedback, be open to criticism, and actively look for gaps in our knowledge. And it's worth noting that the Dunning-Kruger effect isn't about intelligence. Even very smart people can fall prey to overestimating their abilities in areas where they lack expertise. While there's no definitive self-test, one approach is to regularly seek out expert opinions and compare them to your own understanding. If you consistently find that experts in a field disagree with your views, it might be a sign that you're overestimating your knowledge in that area.
That's a good tip. Remain curious and always be open to learning. It's a great note to end on. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite platform. For more info on anything we covered today, check out the links in our episode description. And don't forget, you can now access Perplexity's AI-powered knowledge base on the go with the mobile app, available for both Android and iOS. We also just released the Perplexity desktop app for Mac OS. In other Perplexity news, we're excited to announce that Perplexity now offers a comprehensive one-stop shopping solution where you can both research and purchase products. The platform now features Buy with Pro, a first-of-its-kind AI commerce experience offering one-click checkout and free shipping for Pro users in the US. There's also an innovative Snap-to-Shop feature that lets you find products by simply taking a photo, and an AI-powered discovery system that provides unbiased product recommendations with clear, visual product cards. The platform integrates with Shopify to access up-to-date product information from businesses across the US, making online shopping easier and more efficient than ever. We'll be back with more stories that matter. Until then, stay curious.